But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest. Into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? This show's live. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And what is it we do? Well, here's what we do. We talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are. Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Got a doozy for you tonight. Lots of interesting things happening out there in the news cycles, and it got me thinking in a bunch of different ways, and so here we are. Let's see what happens when you start thinking in a bunch of different ways and try and turn it into one coherent narrative. Cross your fingers. We're going to get this done. So the crazy thing about this show is not only is it live, well, I don't have any inside sources. I'm just watching the news cycles, the internet, just like you guys are. And I'm just trying to see what's actually going on out there. And in the zeitgeist recently, in the last couple days, there's been something, a little something strange. And we'll get to that shortly. And, well, I hope you dig it. But the thing is this, right? Like I said, I had no inside sources here. I have no idea what's really happening other than what I'm trying to piece together, one for an interesting conversation to get us thinking about other things, other terms in, well, just everything. And here on Earth, out in cosmology, look up at the sky, all the rest of this stuff. There's so much going on out there that I think we should be talking about it, at the very least thinking about it. And that's what this show is. It's just about getting together and thinking about things, considering things, and, well, trying to maybe be a step ahead of where they want us to be. And I think that's what this is all about. So, as I said, no inside sources here. The only weapon I have, the secret weapon of troubled minds, is you. Literally you. If you're out there listening right now, it is Tuesday night. We're somewhere in that week between not just Christmas, but the week between Christmas and New Year's. So there's a lot going on with this, and been a busy week for me and probably a lot of other folks, and that's okay because being busy is hopefully better than not being busy. And then, well, That's what we're doing tonight. And so what I mean by the secret weapon is, well, if you listen to the show at any point ever, you'll know that there's a lot of folks that listen out there that end up with a, well, how about an amazing take? And we get one amazing take after another because people are out there just kind of putting their heads to the topic at hand, to what we're talking about, and then they want to contribute. And as a contribution to the show, it usually blows my mind. It usually goes way past what I was thinking, but that's part of the reason we do it in a live format. You know, I'll take the ums and ahs and, you know, imperfections every day over some perfectly edited in a vacuum sort of situation to make me sound super smart. I'm not really concerned about sounding super smart because it's just laying the foundation for not just standing on the shoulders of giants of what came before us, but also how about looking to the future and hearing all the thoughts of the amazing folks out there that are just concerned citizens. That's pretty hot stuff, and that's what this show's about. You are the secret weapon of troubled minds, and the reason I say that is because we have a phone number. It's an open line. Anybody can call. I just ask that you don't be particularly rude, but that's it. I won't be rude to you. You don't be rude to me. It's as simple as that. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we'll put you on the show. Easy as that. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. And it has the Discord link. We're streaming on the website itself. As always, you can, if you don't know where to find us, because there's so many places to find us, the website is the greatest place to go for everything Troubled Minds. So there you go. Let's see. What else do we got? We got that. Discord is a chat client, a voice client. It's completely free. If you're international and don't like that 702 area code, which is Las Vegas, by the way, that's where I'm streaming from, is Las Vegas, Nevada. And if you don't like the 702 area code and you're international, Discord's free. And we do part of the show on Discord with folks jumping in and having a conversation that way as well. So, okay, got that. We also have another Fringe Discord running. It's the same program. It's just a different chat room. I'm watching all the chat rooms because we're streaming on Rockfin, DLive, YouTube, and Twitter, and, of course, broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And I'm watching all of it. I'm trying to keep my eyes on all the places and see all the chat and be able to see who's out there and what the comments are and just kind of keep up with you guys as we go. But so if you want to join the Fringe chat room, please do. You go to fringe.fm/chat. That will give you a direct invite, and lots of fine folks over there all the time. And come say hi. Definitely come meet the amazing folks of Fringe. And let's see, what else do we got? Then one last thing is the easiest way to listen to Troubled Minds is by downloading the Fringe app. You can go to your favorite app store, iTunes or Android, and it's completely free at 7:05 Monday through Thursday. Just smash the play button, and you get Troubled Minds. It's as easy as that, and all the other great programming that comes along with the Fringe FM. Okay, so, well, what's on my mind tonight, you may wonder. Okay, well, let us do this then. Let us go to, how about this? Let's go to sciencealert.com, one of my favorite websites these days. These guys are pretty amazing. And we'll begin here, all right? This one's going to space, but we're going to begin inside, in inner space. We're going to begin in the minds of humanity, in the mind of mankind, is what we're going to do. We're going to start here, okay? And from sciencealert.com, they reported this, and it got me thinking in a number of ways, and you'll see. Stay tuned, and this will make sense very soon. Scientists have identified the driving force behind your darkest impulses. All right, so let's read a little bit of this. Psychologists call it the dark triad, an intersection of three of the most malevolent tendencies of human nature: psychopathy, narcissism, and Machiavellianism. All right, I think I said that right. But the truth goes deeper and darker. There's also egoism, sadism, spitefulness, and more. And behind this rogues gallery of all our worst inclinations on the surface, a central common core of human darkness lies, according to new research. And of course, well, in a 2018 study, psychologists from Germany and Denmark mapped this driving force behind all our darkest impulses and gave it a name: And how do you miss this? This is the funniest thing ever, right? So if you're scientists and you're behind the darkest impulses of the human mind, what are you going to call that? You're going to give it a name, right? Like if you think you've identified something, you're going to be able to give it a name, aren't you? What's up? Carrie out there says 7 deadly sins. That's a good one too. We can talk about that as well. Let's see. Let me delete these bad people, these dark impulse people that are spamming in the chat. Let ban 1, ban 2. Look at that. I can ban them faster than you can spam them. Anyway, so here we go. Now, again, exactly, the 7 deadly sins, that sort of thing. There's a lot going on here with this, but we're just beginning, all right? So this gets a little wild, right? If you were a scientist and you were going to name this new whatever, the central driving force behind humanity's darkest impulses, what would you call it? What would you call it? Well, I guess these scientists maybe have a sense of humor because in a 2018 study, psychologists from Germany and Denmark mapped this driving force behind all our darkest impulses and gave it a name. Meet D, the newly identified dark factor of personality. D, right? They named it the D. So if you guys want to insert D jokes here, well, go right ahead, because I'm never one to run away from a dick or a fart joke, and we'll just we'll leave it at that. But these scientists have named this dark impulse, the driving force behind all our darkest impulses, as D, the letter D, a capital D. Meet D, the newly identified dark factor of personality. All right. Anyway, this is where this goes, right? And I'm going to take this into space because there's some other wild reporting going on right about now, and kind of maybe casting doubt on the Mars missions, the missions to the moon, and our thoughts of an off-world colony. So in any case, we'll get there. Hang with me, and let's go back to the D, shall we? Let's go back to the D. The theoretical framework of the D factor has its underpinnings in what's known as the G factor. And yes, that's right. You can't make this stuff up. These scientists with their terms, the D and the G factor. Okay. Anyway, the G factor is a construct proposed by English psychologist Charles Spearman over a century ago, when he observed that individuals who performed well on one kind of cognitive test were more likely to score well on other kinds of intelligence tests too. All right, cool. That sounds fine, right? Where's the monsters here? Well, hang tight. In other words, a general intelligence factor could be measured. But in turn, it turns out that's not all scientists were able to detect. Quote, in the same way, the dark aspects of human personality also have a common denominator, which means that, similar to intelligence, one can say that they are all an expression of the same dispositional tendency, explained psychologist Ingo Zettler from the University of Copenhagen in Denmark back in September of 2018. All right, so as we get going tonight, we got the D, we got the G factor, we got the darkest impulses of humankind, and, well, what's up, Doombot? Says they found the naughty gene. Yeah, maybe. Naughty or nice. We could turn this little Santa Claus into this while we're at it. Why not? But so here we go. In a series of 4 separate studies over 2,500 participants, Zettler and fellow researchers surveyed participants with questions designed to measure their levels of 9 distinct dark personality traits. Egoism, Machiavellianism, moral disengagement, narcissism, psychological entitlement, psychopathy, sadism, self-interest, and spitefulness. Now, what does all that mean? Well, it means that people can be pretty dark individuals, right? Pretty dark people. Clearly, I know what you're thinking. It's not what you... Stop that. Stop. Meaning, there's a darkness inside all of us, okay? And let's go here. Let's go to this real quick, just because I like this. I like this quote. This is from Mark Pellegrino, and we'll weave this into the narrative as we go. We got a couple quotes here, and if you guys can think of any amazing quotes regarding this, the darkness that resides inside us all, well, I'd love to hear them. But check this out. This is from brainyquote.com, and this is from Mark Pellegrino, and the quote goes a little something like this. Actually, it goes exactly like this. Everyone has monsters and demons within themselves. They're metaphors for the human condition. And that's what I'm talking about tonight. It's not just the human condition, all right? It's the human condition under duress, right? Under some level of stressful situation or a stressful input into our psyche and all the rest of this, right? There's a lot to this. And as we go tonight, it got me thinking in terms of, well, if we're going to be an off-world colony and some of the rest of these things that they say are going to happen in the next 10 years, colonies on the moon, colonies on Mars, all the rest of this, I can't think of a more stressful situation, right? If you were kind of out there, if something goes wrong, there's nobody to help. Here on Earth, there's billions of people, right? And some people with the dark impulses will just walk by and maybe spit on you if you need help, right? But there's also a whole lot of really good people that might actually stop and help you. Okay, well, in terms of this in particular, I'm going to take this back to Mars in a sec, so you'll see where I'm going with this. But the thing is that if we have this human impulse, right, to have a demon inside of us, it's like always fighting this whatever, this thing, that whole dichotomy of trying to be a good person versus, you've seen the memes of the devil and the angel on the shoulder of the, antagonist, protagonist, whoever it is, whatever's going on, right? Where they're trying to get talked into or talked out of doing something particularly horrific or spiteful or mean or all the rest of the things that we've been talking about, right? So it's that, right? It's not just the human condition in that we're all sort of, hopefully aspiring to be better people, okay? But then there's also the rest of this with, okay, now we're talking about in the next 10 years, like we still haven't wiped war out of our human DNA. We're still out there butchering people on a daily basis. There's still horrific things happening the world over. And so it got me thinking in terms of, well, if we can't get rid of that war gene or whatever you want to call it, right? Just that disgusting thing in humanity where we just have to murder each other all the time. Well, what's going to happen on Mars, right? What's going to happen on the moon when we have human colonies up there? Even, you can stress test, you can train astronauts, you can do all the things you're supposed to do, okay? You can do all of that. But what happens when regular people under a ton of stress and maybe in particular circumstances crack under the pressure? What happens? And so what happens if you get sort of an outburst like this, let's say on Mars, in the first human colony on Mars, all right? So we're going to take this idea of monsters within us to Mars. Because why not? Because we're taking ourselves to Mars eventually, right? I think that's the goal. I think that's what Elon's talking about. That's the way this has been going. But it got me thinking in terms of not just this. Meet the D, right? The driving force between the most malevolent tendencies of human nature is what the scientists call this. Like I said, how on earth could you hate the D? You know what I'm saying? How on earth? Well, unless it's malevolent, and then it's easy to hate. You get what I'm saying here? All right, I'm not going to get over the D jokes. I'm going to keep pounding the D jokes because why not? But okay. So oddly enough, we have this. All right, and so the title of the show tonight is, of course, Monsters on Mars. Right? Should we fear monsters on Mars? And what is it? That term right there. What does it bring to mind? Right? Like dune sandworms, or what's it? I don't know. Reptilians hiding in caves on Mars. Who knows? Maybe some sort of microbial, dangerous thing that's going to be problematic or even deadly to the first Mars colonizers, or even the moon as well, right? So we're talking about colonies on both the moon and Mars in the next 10 years, supposedly, right? Cross your fingers, supposedly. So we'll see what this looks like and how this goes. But the problem is, right? The problem is, how can we be worried about monsters elsewhere when we haven't conquered the monsters inside of ourselves? That's the question for tonight. That's the question. So not only am I thinking in terms of, well, the first human colonies off-world, all right? Off-world. I'm also thinking about how we haven't conquered this tendency, this primal tendency to conquer other people, right? This primal tendency to, like George Orwell said, put the boot on the human face forever, that sort of thing, right? Like that tendency, it's there, it's still there, and you see, right? You just go to some places in the world, this stuff is still happening, and it makes me a little bit ill. There you go. What's up, Koji on the chat says the reptilian brain, and kinda, yeah, I think kinda. So back to this. All right. So the question tonight: should we be more worried about monsters on Mars for the first colony that gets there, or should we be more concerned about the monsters that reside within ourselves? And that's what this article got me thinking of. In terms of not just clearly, we know for a very long time that the humans as just a species are very dynamic, let's say, volatile, brilliant, and sadistic, all at the same time, okay? And benevolent, loving, kind. There's so many things that humans are. But it got me thinking in terms of not just this, how scientists have suddenly identified the driving force behind your darkest impulses, which again, they call it the D, which again, like I said, you can't make this stuff up. But then, well, if this is the case, and we're headed to Mars and the moon in colonies, human colonies, should we be more afraid of the monsters that are already here? And, well, that's the question tonight. Just talking about sort of, what did Night Stalker say there? The Shining Mars edition. Kinda, right? I think kinda. That's what we're talking about. It's like we have the human psyche is a very, it could be very robust. It could also be extremely fragile. But those states, even in the same individual, can differ just depending on a set of circumstances, okay? And so it's got me thinking in terms of, well, think about the amount of stress that's just been bombarded on, well, humanity the last, let's say, 2 years, or, going on 3 years now, right? Or is it, was it 1, 2, 2 years? 2 years, right? 2 years in approximately March. And you know what I'm saying? It's the elephant in the room. Negativity, stress, fear, right? So there's that. And we have to deal with that. That's a level of stress. But imagine. You here on Earth, you still have people to help. You still have people to reach out to connect with. Imagine if on Mars something goes wrong. Imagine if you're out there in space, millions of miles from Earth. Something goes wrong and there's nobody to help. Is that not a stressful situation? Does that not stoke the D within us, this dark driving force behind our darkest impulses here, according to this article? And that's where my mind's at tonight. I'm less concerned, to be perfectly honest, about what monsters we find on Mars. And to be clear, I think there might be actual life on Mars, all right? We just haven't found it yet. I think it's probably underground. I think there's a lot of water situation going on there now. There's a lot of things. There's that methane that changes with the seasons. There's a lot of shenanigans happening on Mars that they haven't actually officially acknowledged yet. But given the stress of an off-world colony, do you think the largest monster will be humankind, I guess? You tell me. I don't know. I think that's it's one of those things where humans are amazing, right? And they're also the opposite of that. And so you tell me. That's what's on my mind tonight. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff like we usually do. We can talk about real monsters on Mars if you want to take it there. Think in terms of pathogens, or, like I said, maybe reptilians living underground, or because why not, right? Drinking the maybe juice, that's what we do on this show. But what about the rest of it? What about all of this stuff with stress levels rising, not just here on Earth, but of course, stress levels before we even get to Mars, going through the roof. So, love to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think we should be afraid more of ourselves than what's out there? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And tonight, we're talking about space, the final frontier. Is it something we should be concerned about as we head to colonies on the moon and colonies on Mars when we haven't even conquered the space within? That's what's on my mind tonight. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We're taking your phone calls if you want to be part of the show. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Let's see. Secret Space Program. Oh, gotcha. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about... All right, let's reframe this. I'm talking about basically the human psyche. And is it ready for space? In the next 10 years, it's said that we're supposed to have colonies built on the moon and built on Mars. So you would presume in, let's say, 50 years from now, there would be a lot of people on the moon and Mars as we start to move the human eggs out of the one basket, all right? The proverbial eggs out of the one basket, all right? And that's what this is about. This is not about a secret space program at all. Unless, of course, you want to take it there. That's fine. Like I said, we do this live to include you for exactly that reason. If you want to talk about that, we can talk about that. But I don't think that's the thing here. The thing that's on my mind is this. So we started here with this thing called the D. And yep, you got it, the D. It is the driving force behind your darkest impulses, okay? And that's what, again, we start here with the Science Alert article. But it got me thinking in terms of, right, you see like those space dramas, those space horror situations, right? Like The Expanse or like, I don't know. There's plenty of them. I can't think of a ton of them off the top of my head because my mind is here in this moment because, well, sometimes you have to do that. And the thing is, though, well, is that space horror situation about us? Is it about space? Or do we create that horror ourselves? And I think that's it. I think that's what's up. So this is weird, right? So scientists have identified the driving force behind your darkest impulses. But so the question on my mind tonight is, should we be more afraid of the humanity that we bring to space than we do for the actual whatever dangers may lurk elsewhere, okay? And what I mean by monsters on Mars or monsters on the moon or things like this, it's not literal, okay? Unless you want it to be, then we can talk about that. But I think the thing is that we haven't conquered our, human ability to want to destroy each other, right? Like it still exists. There are still like blood mortal enemies out there that will just push till their dying day for, some sort of victory over somebody else. Okay. And that could be a personal situation. That could be a country, state type situation. That could be a lot of things. All right. Revenge. All of these things they're talking about here. So not just, again, so there's egoism, sadism, spitefulness. Let's see, what else? There's more. Anyway, so interestingly from this, in a given person, the D factor, which of course is this dark factor within humanity, and this study from Science Alert's pretty good stuff if you want to read it. I recommend you read it in... let's see. Okay, gotcha. I'll just call now. Yeah, okay, that's fine. We'll put you on the show. Let's do it. Okay, so that's the thing, right? Regarding all of this, I don't know. Is this, again, we have the monster within. And is that more terrifying than what might lurk in the sands of Mars? That's the question tonight. And, well, meaning, of course, the sands of Mars, it could be, whatever you want to say, something hiding underneath the actual, the sand, the red sand, or microbes, or reptilians, or who knows what's actually up there. Like I said, the dune sandworms, I don't know. Okay? But the thing is, there are a ton of unknowns about these alien worlds, okay? But my question is this. Are we equipped now, currently, to deal with those type of things when we haven't even conquered ourselves yet? We're still destroying this planet wholesale every single day. It's ridiculous. And, well, I don't know. I think that's my point tonight. Do you think it's more necessary to conquer ourselves before we start conquering Mars? And that's what's going on. So as we're talking about this tonight, we're starting with this Science Alert article, and I'm taking it to space. I'm taking the human psyche to space, because why the hell not? Nobody says I can't, damn it, and so we're doing it. But here's the thing, right? As always, you're the secret weapon of the show, and if you want to be part of this show, give us a call, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link and be on the show that way, just like our friend Derek. Derek in Massachusetts, the Night Stalker. Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you, my man?
Hey, Mike. Great show tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. What do you think?
I'm calling from inside the store tonight, so if you hear any background noise, can you hear anything right now? Like any music playing in the background?
Nope, loud and clear, man.
Okay, beautiful. Then we're good. All right, sorry, go ahead.
No, so what do you think? Is this a danger? Not just like you said, the shining in space, right? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Should we be more concerned about the monsters within than the monsters without?
Absolutely. Yeah, I found a few quotes about the monsters within real quick. If you want me to just rattle them off before I get going here.
Sure.
Speaking of Stephen King and The Shining, here's a quote. Sometimes human places create inhuman monsters. Oh, monsters are scared, said Letty. That's why they're monsters. And that's Neil Gaiman. Monsters are real and ghosts are real too. They live inside us and sometimes they win. That's Stephen King. The scariest monsters are ones that lurk within our souls. It's Edgar Allan Poe. I believe there are monsters born in the world to human parents. John Steinbeck. Ignorance is the womb of monsters. Henry Ward Beecher. So they're all pretty much coming up with the same conclusion. It's that like these monsters that terrorize stories and terrorize us in the night and stuff, they're actually like manifestations of things that are inside us. Like the scariest monsters are the ones that are like looking in the mirror back at you, basically. So as far as like you nailed it when like we should be conquering our inner space maybe before we go to our outer space, but which I 100% agree with. But maybe like as a culture, it might take too long to get everybody to a point where they're not going to like kill themselves in some kind of space colony. Because like just look what happens when the weather tells us that we're going to have snow for a weekend, or like Christmas comes and people realize that they can't go to the supermarket for 24 hours. They just pile into the store to make sure they have all their creature comforts, you know, and then tell them that they'll have to last 15 years up there or like a year up there without their provisions that they want, or worse, like they're never coming back. Like they're just the first wave of Martian explorers. They're never coming back. So I don't know. It will be like a Shining in Space type scenario unless they train these astronauts like in meditation and all the things that you have to train them basically like they're going to become some kind of a shaman or Buddhist Lama or something like that. You know, they have to put in the work big time. But as far as like what would happen to us like physiologically, I wonder when we get there if like our personalities might change just from being on a different planet. Like I'm not sure what the resonance of Earth does to our personalities. Like there's all kinds of theories and different like ideas about the sounds of the spheres and like the like our circadian rhythms, and there's different like frequencies and patterns that happen and that affect our body when we're on this planet, you know, and how will that change when we go off planet? Like will generations after us become like start to change and start to become maybe more monstrous? Like they might lose a piece of humanity that's not just part of our personality. It's actually from living on this Earth body, you know. I'm not sure. And then there's like, I gotta kind of be quick because it's kind of a busy night tonight, but like there's a theory or like some kind of story. I remember Spirit Science made a video about it like in like 2009, 2010 range, where they told like the whole history of humanity basically. And in this story, I don't know, like it's kind of a little bit new agey. It's a little like BS kind of, but like in this story, which might have a crumb of an idea, the Earth body has like a tree of life in it. There's like Sephiroths that are housed by different races from all across the cosmos, and there's like Atlanteans and Lemurians or whatever. Like again, this is just their story, like taking up these different Sephiroths, and something happened, like either Lemuria collapsed or like some other pre-Lemurian civilization collapsed and opened up 2 slots on like the world tree of the Earth, and then to occupy those spots, a Martian race that like destroyed their planet came down and filled that void and then they're very warlike, which is where we got the idea that Martians are warlike. So perhaps like they have something different with their psyche. There's different monsters that are lurking inside the Martian psyche, and then they came down to Earth and was what caused humanity to take a skew to like being a more warlike species, because like we interbred with these Martians, and now we have this Martian warlike DNA in us that might, when we go back to Mars, might really bloom and might really like come out in a bad way, you know? Which is like, that's kind of a ridiculous idea, but I figured I'd toss that out there. Just
well, it comes full circle because Mars is the god of war. So it makes you wonder, right? Yeah. Yeah,
I'm not sure when we really got that from, you know? Exactly.
Yeah, pretty wild stuff. So this wasn't coming out of nowhere. So just so you know what's up, CNET reported that in these Mars colony simulations, they found out that the crew may revolt without strong interplanetary communication. So you kind of leave them in the dark too long without any sort of mission control situation, and things could get ugly, right? It's that whole stress. Are we really alone? Like, think about it in terms of, are we really alone in the universe? But then, well, are you really alone on Mars becomes a lot more terrifying, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And just the idea of being trapped. It's like, it gives you a very claustrophobic idea, or a very claustrophobic feeling just thinking about it, and just the idea that you can't even leave. The conditions on Mars aren't where we can survive in it. So we're not only trapped on a planet, but we're trapped in very tight quarters with people. We're trapped in a tiny like space station or a tiny whatever that is probably going to be like dealing with a lot of infrastructure problems. Like if you watch The Martian, he's like every other scene, he's dealing with some kind of wind blowing something off, and he has to fix something. It's a very stressful environment, and like it will compound the fact that you're just like in an isolated chamber for long periods of time. And just, I don't know, just the thought of that, it's like being trapped underwater. Like one of the scariest potential deaths I've ever heard is like something where they take like an immortal, somebody that can't die, or like they curse him with immortal life, and then like trap him in the bottom of the ocean. So like so forever. So he's just trapped in this small like enclosed space forever. And just that's like a true hell. That's the absence of hope, you know. And that could be, if you're not mentally prepared for what's gonna happen to you on Mars, you might feel that same feeling, you know. So I think foremost, before any type of physical training, you gotta make sure you weed out the mentally unstable before you pick them as an astronaut. But it's about to get kind of noisy over here, and I'm rambling bad, so I gotta get going. But
okay,
really great show, Mike.
Appreciate it. Good stuff as always. That's Derek, the Night Stalker. Have a great night. Catch you later, brother. Thanks a lot. He's got a YouTube channel. Check it out. Link is in the description. He's got a trailer, and you can see him actually night stalking in his YouTube trailer. And let's inspire him to create some content for us, because he calls in often to the show, and he's brilliant, as you can tell. So do check that out. Scroll down. It says follow Night Stalker here. Go follow his YouTube channel, and hopefully we'll inspire him to make some amazing stuff. So the thing is, right, and he's spot on here, and this is what I'm talking about, right? So the monsters within ourselves seems to be I don't know, enduring, okay? It doesn't seem something easily defeated. And this is where I'm headed with this, okay? So not just this darkness inside of ourselves, inside of our soul, inside of our psyche, inside of the rest of this. Let's go to this article. This is MSN's reporting this, but from CNET. And check this out. And this is where I'm headed with this, because this gets a little more terrifying the deeper you go. And by the way, if you want to be on the show, Derek kicked this off with a great call there, as always. I'd love to hear your thought on this. Do you think that it's more important, the question is this, do you think it's more important to maybe focus on, mental health here than it is to worry about going to Mars? Like, I get it, the all the eggs in one basket situation, we get smacked with an asteroid, we're screwed. Better to have some people on Mars just in case. I get that. But if we're going to be monsters no matter where we go because we can't conquer the monster within, what's the difference? Like, we become that warfaring, like planet-domineering, space-faring version of ETs that, they show us in Hollywood. They go from planet to planet like locusts, just destroying all of the natural resources, right? I mean, that's the thing. If we can't, sort of shake that out of who we are, out of our DNA now, then we're going to spread that nastiness throughout the galaxy, aren't we? Yeah. So anyway, so let's go to this, and this is why I started thinking in terms of this. There's in the zeitgeist. You guys know me. I watch news cycles very closely, and why I'm talking about this is not just because of that story about the human psyche to start us out, right? About the darkest portion, the D, right? The darkest portion of humans, right? Not that. Yes, that, but also not that. Check this out. In the zeitgeist, there's also things like this happening. And it wasn't the only one. If I find one thing, it's one thing. But if you find multiple things, you start to go, wait, what's happening right now? And here's my thought. Mars colony simulations. Crew may revolt without strong interplanetary communication. And like Derek was saying, there's that feeling of claustrophobia if you can't get help, right? Imagine drowning, right? And interestingly, on the graphic tonight, what do I have? There's a NASA astronaut drowning in a sea of space, all right? And it is an interesting thought that if you're out there and there's nobody to help, what kind of feelings are going through your mind, through your soul, through your body, all right? So yeah, here we go. Earlier this month, 6 people began their tenure in an immersive experiment that's either your greatest dream or your worst nightmare. They're living in a simulated extraterrestrial colony while being monitored by its builders. It's part of Project Sirius, an 8-month off-world settlement test taking place in Moscow, all right? So it's not actually there. It's not on Mars. It's in Moscow, and they're testing like it would be Mars. They have no help, all right? And this is what they found, right? Given the rampant interest in colonizing other planets, especially from SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, scientists behind these experiments are learning what physical and psychological consequences could be in store for future Martian or lunar settlers. And even though 2021 Sirius simulation, which just started on November 4th, there's already a good chunk of data to work with from tests in 2017 and 2019. All right, so check this out. This gets a little more wild as this goes. So among those analyzing the specifics, one research team has noted 2 striking outcomes. Members of the Off-Earth Society grew increasingly autonomous, and they progressively communicated their feelings less often with mission control. The researchers published their findings on November 9th in the journal Frontiers in Physiology. At face value, strong independence seems promising in a potential Martian society. If settlers perceive full control of their mission, they'd function confidently on their own and work collaboratively, drawing on their comfort with one another. That could benefit later interplanetary endeavors by easing individual anxiety and enhancing group cohesion for carrying out protocols, right? Sounds legit, right? Well, it gets a little darker because withdrawing from maybe communications is not necessarily a positive human thing, all right? Which we know, which is what we're talking about, the human psyche as we begin tonight. Check this out. It gets even crazier. That was one of the surprising findings of the study. Quote, the communication characteristics of crew members with different personalities, genders, and cultures became more similar during the mission, said co-author Dmitry Shved of the Russian Academy of Sciences and Moscow Aviation Institute. But on a deeper level, letting go of mission control's hand invites some challenges. Quote, the negative side is that the mission control loses the possibility to understand the needs and problems of the crew, which consequently hinders mission control's ability to provide support, Shved said. Taking it a step or 5 further, if the crew achieves a super high level of autonomy and cohesion, according to Shved, there's another potential concern. They might seek complete detachment from external governing structures. Basically, Martian humans could revolt from Earthlings. So you see what they're doing? You see what they're already setting this up to be like an intergalactic war, right? Like a interplanetary war with Earth and Mars, and we aren't even on Mars yet. So again, right? So I this fantastic article started us out tonight from Science Alert, talking about the D. All right, I won't get enough. The D, right? The D again. Meet the D, the newly identified dark factor of personality. The theoretical framework of the D factor has its underpinnings in what's known as the G factor, which we talked about. And so it started there and got me thinking. Okay, so what about the dark heart of humanity? All right, what about that devil on your shoulder situation? And then clearly, because this is Troubled Minds, I'm like, okay, we all, that's fun to talk about. It's fun to consider. But what happens if you take that same concept and then you put it on Mars? You put it in a space of isolation where, well, there is no help. But what if they thrive in the other sense, right? And there's no overreach, nobody to tell them you can't do this or you can't do that, right? Like, what are they going to have? Like Mars police, Mars cops? How are they going to stop things from happening that are, let's call it below board, I guess. I don't know. I think there's some weirdness to this, and basically my thought is this tonight. And again, if you have an idea about this, or if you think I'm on here, or I'm off here, or whatever, it's just part of the conversation. We can take this anywhere we want to. Monsters on Mars are the least of my concerns, even though I do believe there may be life on Mars. Okay, I do believe so. Just because we haven't found it specifically and caught the little critter running around and held it up for a picture doesn't mean there might not be a ton of pretty terrifying things underground on Mars. We don't know yet, all right? We're barely there with the Mars rovers and all the rest of this. And heck, some people don't even believe space is real and Mars is fake anyway, so whatever. But the thing is this, right? How about that feeling of isolation? What about that feeling of the dark factor of a human personality left to its own devices in space? That's psychopathy, I think is how you say it. Narcissism, Machiavellianism, right? What about the fact that maybe, right, you send them up there with billions of dollars of equipment and they become that breakaway civilization. The revolt begins almost immediately, right? And it seems like they're pumping that out into the zeitgeist right now. And I've got more examples. Not just this, there is more. And so it's got me wondering, are we already, think about it, are we already, before we're even on Mars, setting up some sort of planetary fracture, some sort of us versus them, those dirty Martian colonists, right? It's their fault, right? You know how our media works. You have to just pick out who you can cast blame on and fling poo at, right? That's the way our media works. So it's got me thinking in terms of this, right? So not just do we have this happening, right? Scientists discuss planetary colonies, say, oh, no, that's another one. Let's go to that later. The Mars colony simulations crew may revolt without strong interplanetary communication, right? So if you leave them to their own devices, they're already suggesting in news cycles now that we may have an interplanetary conflict afoot before we're even there. And this is what I'm talking about, right? This is what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense, does it? It's like let's set up the war before there's even a war. Let's start the propaganda, beating the drums and all the rest of this before we even have a chance to fire a shot, a proverbial shot. Weird, no? I think this is weird. And so here we are, on Earth, stuck here until the first plane leaves for Mars itself. But then what? Is there going to be this breakaway civilization, this Martian revolt, as they're casting it and framing it in the media? Or do you think that, well, maybe, Michael Strange, you have an overactive imagination, and that's totally fine? What do you think? That's what this is all about. It's a conversation. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. I don't know. Mars, revolts, maybe even cannibalism. We'll get to that when we come back. 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More Mars, colonies, cannibalism, and you when we return. Be right back. We are talking about the alien abduction phenomenon.
The aliens are looking through your eyes and they're accessing your optic nerve. I'm doing that. And through that optic nerve, they're transferring to your brain. People are random images as they traverse neurons in the brain.
All right, so maybe,
and they also feel them planting or receiving memories or ideas or images.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. This show's live. We do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And what is it we do? Well, we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. Like I said, this show's live. We're streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, D-Live, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And we're taking your phone calls. Tonight, we're discussing, well, the monster within. Not just in terms of humanity conquering itself and its own demons, but then taking that notion off planet. Because, of course, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and the billionaires of the space race era, the new space race, are fighting tooth and nail to see who can get to Mars first. And so, well, we may get there. Do you think it's the best idea? We have a lot of problems here on Earth, and that's what's on my mind tonight. And I'd love to hear your thoughts regarding this. Should we be more concerned about monsters on Mars and what dangers lie there, or should we be more concerned with the fact it's 2021, nearly 2022, and we're still waging wars the world over? We're still butchering people. We're still censoring thought and speech. Like, there's so many things that are happening on this planet that are just horrific for humans in the future. That's, well, I think we got a lot of work to do. And it's unfortunate that we have these, the geopolitics and all the rest of this, and people with all over the world with these just sensitive souls that just, you can't criticize them or they want to go to war. It's just like, come on, guys. Like, wasn't that so 5th century? Like, we should be over this by now. But, well, we're not. Still dropping bombs on the Middle East. We're still sending in, gun teams to do this and that, clandestine operations. You name it. There's just tons and tons of, dirty shenanigans happening on Earth. And it's got me thinking in terms of, well, we got a lot of work to do here on the inside. So while we're still on Earth. So this whole maybe Martian idea to me seems like a pipe dream. It seems like and then of course we have this weirdness with the media cycles setting up what appears to be maybe an interplanetary conflict before we even have a colony on Mars. It's crazy. I got a couple articles regarding that, and we'll get to those in just a sec here. But that's what we're talking about tonight, right? So not just, we talk about on this show on Troubled Minds aliens and the possibilities, and we just call it drinking the maybe juice and all the rest of this, and that's fine, okay? Like, I don't know. I don't believe in particular that there are, Martians like reptilians on Mars or something. But I do believe there's probably microbial life, at least. There might be larger life underground. I think so. I think we're going to probably run into that as we start sending people up there. And so in my mind, it's monsters on Mars, okay? Because we don't know what these aliens are, et cetera, so on. But to me, it seems less important than conquering the monsters within. And that's the point tonight. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to be part of this discussion, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org and we'll put you on the show. And it's as easy as that. We got Matt in California. We're going to go to him in just a sec. And then James, I see there. We'll go to James right after that. Thanks for being patient, James. And that's what's up. So what are your thoughts on this? That's the whole idea tonight. Well, we've got this article right here real quick that's Mars colony simulations. The crew may revolt without strong interplanetary communication, right? Like what? Like the president calling them and telling them we're proud of you, Martians? Or I don't know. It just seems strange to me that we're setting up these ideas of this really horrific interplanetary rift before we even have people there. And that's part of what my idea is here, that it seems like the press, the media, as it were, is still not even satisfied that they've divided and divided and divided like crazy, that now they have to start dividing a colony that doesn't even exist yet, right? Undermining the very notion of it being its own sort of independent colony. It's crazy to me. It's like, all right. And you'll see what I mean. This is just one example. So anyway, 702-957-1037. Let's go to Matt in California. What's up, my friend? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
I'm doing very well, thank you. What do you think?
Hey, good show tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate that. What are your thoughts here?
Good. I just wanted to talk in the beginning. I wanted to call and tell this tale, this Native American tale about the tale of two wolves. Have you heard of this?
Yes, sure have.
Okay, can I just read it?
Of course.
I'm just going to read it.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so it says, one evening, an elderly Cherokee brave told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside people. He said, "My son, the battle is between two wolves inside of us all. One is evil. It is anger, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other wolf is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." The grandson thought about it for a minute, and then he asked his grandfather, "Which wolf wins?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one that you feed." I think that went pretty good with what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. And that's the one we do have that. Interestingly, so recently we talked about the Matrix quite a bit because it just came out. And we talked about that duality of creation, right? With some other kind of themes in that. But there's also that duality inside of us where, again, like it's that same sort of trope of the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, right? And that's what this is about. It's about being able to conquer those demons. And like why would you? Like, why would you feed the rest of those things? But again, back to the upside down world, the media is constantly feeding fear, 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 fear. It's like they're feeding that for us, right? You wake up in the morning before you have breakfast, if you turn on the TV, which I don't recommend, by the way, but if you do, what do you get? Fear, 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 fear. They're feeding that wolf for us, aren't they?
Yeah, it's good.
Pretty wild.
I think we need to get our stuff together here on Earth first before we start going off to other planets, because we need to get our stuff together. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, same, and that's part of the whole idea of Troubled Minds, is that like we tend to live in these bubbles of potential security, which we don't even have. But beyond that, if you go a little bit further than that, what do you have? Like you have to be able to break down a bunch of the stuff on Earth that's happening in these terrible places. Where, well, what can you do? Like what can we do? I think the very first thing here, and I know you agree with me on this part at least, is that we have to talk about it. Because if we're not pointing out the things that are horrific out there in this world, you can't change them. If you ignore they're there, they'll never change, right?
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad that we get the chance to talk about it. And I was thinking one thing is funny. I was thinking about, like, what if you went to Mars as a colony and then, like, your neighbor was a jerk?
Right?
A racist. And
right.
Like, what do? You can't, what am I going to do? Move to the other side of the colony? Like, I'm going to move to the other side of the planet, start my own colony. Who's coming with me?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's part of it too. It like, just because you go to Mars, it shouldn't iron out all those terrible impulses people have inside of them. And that's sort of the same idea, right? Going to Mars as the first colonist, you're going to have to be as selfless as possible because you may not make it, right? But well, what happens? Not to throw spoilers in this mix, but have you seen Interstellar?
I still haven't seen it.
Okay, never mind. There's an exact thing that I'm talking about that happens in that movie. Do check it out. It's pretty amazing. It's one of those ones when you got a nice cozy night fired up at home, you're going to be pleased that you watched it. But I don't know. So you agree that we need to get our own stuff square before we start looking to Mars. Well, what do you think about this weird media concoction where they're already crew may revolt without strong interplanetary communication? Like, what the heck is that? What's going on already?
Well, yeah, in the movie The Shining, I think that's kind of what they're saying, like isolation, like cabin fever. People get like cabin fever when they're isolated, and then, that's just being isolated here on Earth. Think about being by yourself in space. How much would that suck? Yeah. And then imagine something goes wrong. Like, if that doesn't break somebody, I'm not sure what will, right? That's the type of thing. Like, that's sort of yeah, wild stuff. I don't know. What do you think? What are your odds of monsters on Mars? Oh, like monsters?
Yeah, monsters.
I'm with you on maybe they're underground.
All right. That's fair enough. Not like sandworms or anything.
Yeah, All right. Hidden somewhere.
That's fine.
But yeah, I just wanted to call and tell that. That story of the two wolves because I like it and it kind of fit in with the beginning part of the show.
I think so. Very much. Very much. I appreciate it. Matt, you're the best. That's Matt in California. Always a pleasure. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Have a good night.
Thanks, you too. There you go. If you want to be part of the show, phone line is working. Snappy. Thanks to Matt again. Always amazing stuff from Derek and Matt so far. Looking to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Should we get our own psyche in order here on Earth before we start looking to Mars? Because as you can see, the news cycles are already trying to create an interplanetary rift before we even have a colony on Mars itself. What's going on here? Or even the moon itself. Great stuff from Matt. That's a great tale. I have heard that one, The Tale of Two Wolves. And the answer is, which one do you feed? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And we'll put you on the show. Easy peasy as that. That was the phone line. If you want to join the show on Discord, you can give us a call. Actually, go to troubledminds.org, click the Discord link, then just jump in the caller queue, just like our good friend James did. And on Discord, James in Michigan. Salcedo Paranormal, what's up, brother? Test 1, 2. Are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Microphone all snappy tonight, sir. What's on your mind? What do you think about all this craziness here? Do you think there's a problem with the media and how maybe they're starting to frame this? And, well, the monsters on Mars, like I said, may be a thing, but to me, it seems the opposite. It seems like there's a whole lot more monsters in the minds of man.
Yeah, I think there are a few main points here. The first thing I thought of is I do agree that it would be better if we did wait until our species had things more figured out and we were not nearly as bad to each other as we are overall. But I think technology and just, I don't know, I think civilization moves faster than it should in general. I don't know. I think that it was inevitable that we were going to head out into space before we were ready. Not saying it's good, but I just think that was just going to happen. And it's just, I would hope, and I said this in the chat, I'd hope that whoever the people are that are in charge of setting all of this up, as far as selecting the people that go, I would hope that they consider all these things that we're talking about in terms of personalities, in terms of, I guess, mental health of the people that they select. But also, again, just realizing there's only so much we can do here. Once we send those people out there, all we can do is hope for the best. Until we can send people and supplies more often. It's scary, but I think that's the way it is. And I do agree that the media definitely is, as always, spinning things the way they want to make more, to almost make more division before, like you said, it can even start.
Yeah, we don't even have people on Mars, but they're already talking about the crew may revolt. It's like, okay, I mean, this is straight out of Total Recall, right? With like, the Martian colonists and the violence and the what are they mining, the terbidium or whatever they call it in the movie. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like if you say in terms of like that movies and Hollywood and the rest of this is some sort of predictive programming, like it's hard not to look at this and go, huh, well, maybe, right? Maybe it's like they're setting this up. Like how can we choose like a future for ourselves in a dire way before we've even like taken the first step into that future? I guess that's my concern here. That's my beef with this. And having a troubled mind doesn't mean that you see the world is about to end. You see that there are problems, and to fix them, we have to acknowledge them. And this stuff drives me nuts. It's like, okay, well, I guess we're not even talking about civil war anymore. We're talking about, well, planetary civil war. I mean, come on, right?
Yeah, I would hope, again, that the right people see that what the media is trying to do. Because in a way, if you look at it, I mean, the media is already insulting the group that goes before they're even picked. They're putting them down, in advance. And like I said, I just hope that a lot of thought is put into the selection and the the whole process in general. And I think that's the best we can ask for and hope for at this point for all that.
Exactly that. So since it is Troubled Minds and we do drink the maybe juice here, what type of odds do you put on actual monsters on Mars?
It wouldn't surprise me. There's life here. I've always liked the idea that if there's life here, there's probably life all over the place, even if it's not life as we think of it, or as scientists think of it. So it wouldn't surprise me. I have a hard time with the idea that we're the only planet with living beings in the entire, and in all of the universe. So I wouldn't be surprised if they discover something at some point.
Gotcha. All right. So if you got to lean one way or the other, should we worry about conquering the monsters that we don't know about, or the monsters within that we do know about? Easy choice, isn't it?
Yeah. That definitely. Yep.
Right on. Great stuff as always. Anything else you got for us, James?
No, that was it. Just great topic and great calls already.
Great calls already, including you, sir. Thank you so much. This is James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal. He does a podcast 5 nights a week. Check it out. You can find his link in the description down below, and go download his podcast. I think you'll be pretty pleased with a lot of the stuff he talks about. Thanks, James. You're the best. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Great stuff. And there you go. I think this is where we're at with, again, a lot of really brilliant people out there with some troubled minds. That again, right? Having a troubled mind doesn't mean that, right? We're not ill, right? We're just trying to pay attention to the world around us and decide maybe what the next step is. And if we turn to the media once again, right? Just like James said, the media seems to be insulting this group of people before they they've even been selected to go. I mean, we don't even know if the first mission is going to end in some like horrific tragedy. And I hate to think it that way, but it's happened before, right? So I don't know. Like, this is the type of stuff that drives me a little bit nuts. Now, I promised some cannibalism for you guys. So check this out. This is wild. This is from republicworld.com, right? Now, this is nuts. So not only do we have the past one here, where we have from CNET and MSN, Mars colony simulations. They say the crew may revolt without strong interplanetary communication. Already setting up that interplanetary fracture before we even have anybody on Mars, okay? Well, check this out. This gets even more wild. From republicworld.com, scientists, this is today, December 28th, scientists discuss planetary colonies, say lack of preparedness could lead to cannibalism. Cannibalism. What? What? And this is what I'm talking about, right? This is the media today. Headlines, right? Clickbait. You don't get any kind of this clickbait unless you say outlandish stuff. Unless you start, right, to kind of just dropping just dumb things out in the news cycle to get clicks. This is pretty wild, right? Let's read just a little bit of this. Before attempting to colonize distant worlds, humans should first establish tester colonies on the moon or Mars that could be restocked, the scientists said. Here you go. According to a report by the Russian state-owned Sputnik. Here we go. This is all Russian stuff. So just FYI, both of these are a Russian study and now a Russian report from Sputnik, Russian propaganda through and through. But just wink, wink, you see how these news cycles work and who's pumping out this information, right? So according to a report by Russian state-owned Sputnik, two scientists, Charles Cockle, and an astrobiologist at Edinburgh University, and Dr. Cameron Smith, an anthropologist at Portland State University, told Metro that before attempting to colonize distant worlds, humans should first establish tester colonies. Because, well, they say isolated human communities can degenerate very quickly. According to Charles Cockle, the possibility of Earth becoming inhospitable may come from a climate catastrophe and is a catastrophically bad reason to establish a colony. However, he believes that colonizing is a good option. Further, Cockle explained that the entire colonization process, along with the importance of food, with an example in which we talked about the ill-fated 19th century Franklin expedition. We could also add the one here in California, the Donner Party, and the rest of that. I say California because I used to live there, but they were traveling, and right, everybody knows how that ended horrifically as well. So I don't know. There's a whole lot here that kind of just makes me scratch my head with a bunch of this propaganda that, like James said, he hit it spot on. They're trying to like bury these people before they've even like taken a step on Mars itself. It's pretty wild to me. But again, right, it does make a little more sense when both of these sources are from, well, Russian propaganda. So you see what I'm saying? Like, it's not always about just the thing, all right? Sometimes it's also about the thing and where the thing came from, all right? Always check the sources. You guys know this show is not just about Mars and colonies and propaganda, but it's also about propaganda and propaganda and propaganda. And always check your source, all right? You never know. You never know where this information's coming from. What are your thoughts? Should we be more concerned with the monster within or the monster without as we look to colonize Mars, the moon, and move to an interplanetary species? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. More Mars, propaganda, cannibalism, and you when we return. Be right back. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming on Rockfin, YouTube, DLive, and Twitter, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And tonight, we're talking about colonizing Mars. But do you think it's necessary to conquer the demons within before we're worried about what monsters might lurk in the sands of the Martian atmosphere. You tell me. That's what I'm thinking about tonight because, of course, right, as always, there's some information in the propaganda cycles that lead us to believe that, well, the Martian endeavor is not going to end well, okay? It's going to be some sort of breakaway civilization. It's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff. And unfortunately, well, that's one of my specialties, is this news cycle stuff. I watch these news cycles closely, and it seems that when some of these psyops start to happen, right, some of this, like, get the information out there into the zeitgeist is usually, typically bad, catastrophically bad even, in the term of, well, we're describing a couple articles here. One says that according to a Russian team, and of course, key being the Russian team, right, in the propaganda spectrum here, Mars colony simulations, the crew may revolt without strong interplanetary communication, all right? So it's like, okay, we're already setting up an interplanetary conflict before we even have a colony on Mars to begin with, okay? So that right there kind of drove me a little bit nuts when I saw it. But we began tonight talking about what the monsters within. We still have monsters we haven't conquered inside the human spirit, inside the human soul, inside the human psyche. And so as a result of all those things, it makes me wonder, right? Like we're propagandizing and targeting whoever is going to end up on Mars before they even go, just like James was describing. And then not only that, we're setting up some sort of interplanetary conflict by pumping this stuff into the news cycle now. And being that it's from the Russian state propaganda machine, you know, a lot of this stuff, I can't help but think that, is this what we want? Is this what they want? Is this... I don't know. Fear, always fear, right? That's what it's all about, and that's why this kind of this news cycle stuff really, really makes me mad, and it really inspired me to start this show, to be perfectly honest, because there was so much BS out there that was just not okay. It was just not okay. And so, well, I don't know. What are your thoughts? We're still talking about this tonight. So supposedly, we're supposed to believe that there's a situation happening where not only where the crew may revolt here, we're going to read this and then we'll get to the cannibalism thing in a bit here. But it's just horrific, right? So here we go. At face value, strong independence seems promising in a potential Martian colony. As settlers perceive full control of their mission, they function confidently on their own and work collaboratively, drawing on their comfort with one another. That could benefit later interplanetary endeavors by easing individual anxiety and enhancing group cohesion for carrying out protocols, right? Which, fine, that sounds fine. Except, well, they're trying to say that it's a negative thing if they don't get communications from mission control, right? If they lose contact with Earth for extended periods, they say that they will become more and more isolated, and not just themselves, but isolated from Earth itself. And that to me is like, okay, maybe, but isn't the whole point of going there is because you love Earth, is because you love humanity, you want people to succeed and survive, and if something catastrophic happens on Earth, then, well, at least there's a second chance somewhere else, right? To me, it seems if you go there, you're going to Mars for the right reasons, all right? Not to hijack the colony and turn it into space invaders or something like this. But who knows, right? According to the propaganda sources, well, who knows what's next? And maybe this is indeed where this is headed. So love to hear your thoughts again. If you want to be part of the show in this discussion tonight, I don't know. Is this a little weird? Is this not? Do you think it's odd that we have these Russian sources really kind of crapping on Elon Musk and crew before they even begin the mission? That's the startling part to me. It's like nothing is holy, right? Like we will literally just dig our own graves while everybody's still alive, which makes absolutely no sense. You see? And this is why, again, this is why there's a troubled minds. But here we go. A little bit more from this article as we go tonight. But as you are aware, I'd rather hear from you. As always, I'd rather hear your take on this. And do you think that we should conquer the demons within before we worry about the monsters without? So let's go. That was one of the surprising findings of this study, right? They say from this happened in Russia. It was a simulated Mars colony, part of Project Sirius, an 8-month off-world settlement test taking place in Moscow, all right? So then they said this. One of the surprising findings of the study was, quote, the communication characteristics of crew members with different personalities, genders, and cultures became more similar during the mission. It's a good thing, right? Said co-author Dmitry Shved during the Russian Academy of Sciences and the Moscow Aviation Institute. But on a deeper level, letting go of mission control's hand invites some challenges, right? It seems like they're trying to sow some doubt in that if we let them go without some sort of maybe space cops to watch them for us, right, so that we could beat them down for not wearing masks or whatever, wink, wink, that maybe this is what we need, right? It seems like it's there to sow doubt. But anyway, but on a deeper level, letting go of mission control's hand invites some challenges. It continues. Another quote: "The negative side is that the mission control loses the possibility to understand the needs and problems of the crew, which consequently hinders mission control's ability to provide support," said the author of this study. And Shved said, that's the guy's name, Shved. Taking a step or five further, of course, if the crew achieves a super high level of autonomy and cohesion, according to Shved, there's another potential concern. They might seek to complete detachment from external governing structures. Basically, Martian humans could revolt from Earthlings. Yeah, right. So this is the wildness here. This is what's going on, and why I read some of this, some of the propaganda stuff, and it irks me. It's always been one of those things where you always think before you start to realize everybody's lying in the media. In the old days, before you realize that, you always thought that the news, by and large, was mostly telling you the truth. Well, this is the type of stuff you get. If you dig a little bit deeper and look at the motivations and the sources of where this information comes from, then you start to see, right? This is Russian propaganda, and it's trying to undermine a mission to Mars before we've even really began a mission to Mars. You see? And that's the part of the problem. Like I said, we're digging our own graves while we're still alive, and it drives me nuts. At some point, can't we just move past this state pride and just realize we're all in this together at some point, right? Yeah, Matt, the donor party happened in Northern California. Yeah, I thought so. I thought that was a NorCal thing. Anyway, so thing is, this is weird, right? This is weird. So not only this, so this is what I'm saying. So this is, again, from a study in Moscow, Project Sirius, all right? SIRIUS, not the other kind of serious like OMG, are you serious? Not that kind of serious. The other serious, right? So anyway, so that's what they're talking about here, and they're kind of just dropping the hints that there's going to be a planetary revolution. All right, that if we let these guys just succeed on their own without interfering with all the bureaucratic red tape, they might just take over Mars for themselves, right? It's like, okay, all right, I guess that's where we're at. 702-957-1037. Going to put it on the thing for you. There you go, 957-1037. There you go, right there in the chat. There you go, Sirius, home of the nine, right? Exactly. Okay, so anyway, there's a little bit more here, and this is the other one that kind of just made me smack my head. And I was trying to figure out how to work this mental health situation with the D, right? If you guys have been listening, you know what I'm talking about with the D. We go back to the D jokes here from Science Alert. Scientists have identified the driving force behind your darkest impulses, and the D is what they're calling this thing, right? Meet D, the newly identified dark factor of personality. And we're talking about psychopathy, we're talking about narcissism, Machiavellianism, we're talking about these other traits, egoism, moral disengagement, psychological entitlement, sadism, self-interest, and spitefulness, okay? And scientists, we started here because I wanted to talk about human beings, all right, as human entities, as, well, we don't have it together yet. All right, we just don't, because if we were going to, well, the world would be a lot better place than it already is, okay? And so we don't. So, of course, undermining the mission to Mars, well, it starts with, how about we not undermine the mission to Mars and give them a chance? How about that, right? Why don't we start there and push positivity, right? And again, Russian state propaganda, trying to say all the rest of this garbage and make us, well, what are they trying to make us? I don't know. Trying to make us doubt humanity itself, trying to make us doubt what? I don't know. Anyway, so this gets darker, right? So with the Russian propaganda scene here, we've got the Mars colony simulations. They might revolt, etc., so on. But then we got this one from Republic World. And check this out. This is pretty wild. I was talking about this before we just went to the last break. Scientists discuss planetary colonies, say lack of preparedness could lead to cannibalism. Yeah, right. Like it's not dark enough. We got to push this stuff into the news cycle and just be like, oh yeah. By the way, the Soylent Green Mars is people. Right? Cockle stated that Franklin's ships were the most sophisticated pieces of technology available at the time and had tinned food, which was considered to be the new technology during the period. However, the expedition was lost, stranded, and eventually they devolved into cannibalism, Sputnik reported. And he's talking about the, let's see, what was this? The entire colonizing process of the importance of food with the example of the 19th century ill-fated Franklin expedition is what he's talking about, okay? And trying to equate this with Mars. All right, I mean, you know, am I right to be annoyed by this? I'm annoyed by this. I just am. It's these propaganda sources just so where we are tonight is this. Check the source. Always check the source, because it seems to be this is a Russian propaganda thing to undermine Elon Musk and the push to Mars, all right? To get it into the zeitgeist that there's going to be horrific things happening. They're going to rebel. They're going to eat each other. There's going to be just madness, bedlam, endless bedlam, right? And yeah, so it annoys me quite a bit. Love to hear your thoughts on this. 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to, I believe this is Phil in Washington. Welcome to Troubled Minds, my friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man, and interesting subject, I have to say.
Thank you.
So I was just going to point out a couple of things, if it's all right. Randy Kramer, who was interviewed on Project Camelot, talked about both a reptilian race and an insectoid race, which could include the spiders, yeah, that they were actually battling. Randy Kramer was a super soldier and was actually battling these creatures. So that's the one thing. There are what we would say, quote unquote, monsters on Mars, because we're going to find monsters out there. Because every insect, every animal, everything that we see on this planet has evolved on another planet to be an intelligent species, pretty much.
Okay. So you do expect, actually, if we go there, that maybe the monsters on Mars isn't as frivolous as I'm making it. You think there may be challenges on Mars that are a little more extraterrestrial in nature?
Right. Well, I mean, any rocky planet that's anywhere close to the Goldilocks zone is terra firma, and yeah, it's claimed.
Okay, so it may be stickier than we think. Sorry, go ahead.
The natives of this planet, those people died, millions of years ago.
Yeah, some of that came out in the Stargate project as well. They had a remote viewer looking a million years ago on Mars, and he said that there was an alien race that lived there and are now either extinct or moved underground because of some cataclysm. But this was like a million years ago, remote viewing. So take that for what you will. But I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah, I have heard about that one too. Well, and then but there's so many examples of. And granted, this is just witnesses, but Randy Kramer is claiming to be a first-person observer of these things. So I'll just put that out there. And we're humans. We're animals. We have to eat. You use up all your supplies. The first weak person to die is dinner.
Yeah, right. It's just an unfortunate math equation.
Good sense, right?
Yeah, well, I mean...
If you're waiting for the rescue ship to come, you got to make sure somebody is there to be rescued.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
again... this is kind of cold and hard, but, I'm just being a realist about it.
Yeah, well, I think part of the problem is that clearly we could speculate all kinds of terrible things for something that hasn't happened yet, and that's what's happening here, right? And that's what's kind of irritating me about the news cycle regarding this.
I mean, you would hope that Elon Musk is going to. I mean, as I understand it, he's going to send a ship that's going to land there and start producing oxygen and other necessaries, to make fuel. So it's not like he's a smart guy. He's not going to just send people out there to die and eat each other.
Exactly.
And then there's the other. If we've got a space warden, if we've got this interplanetary corporation armada out there, I mean, they're lying to us, right? I mean, the propaganda is rife throughout every society, my friend.
100%.
No, every government lying to us. Unfortunately, we really need to move into a society of transparency, and where we all realize, well, I know that you're not telling the truth, and so why don't you just go ahead and spit out the truth instead of obfuscating here, like a Dr. F does. So
right. Exactly. Thanks for the abbreviation. I'll tell you why, Phil. I'll tell you why. This is why, Phil. Because you can't handle the truth, Phil. That's why.
No, I can handle the truth. I know the truth.
Fair enough. I'm just saying. That's
when I hear it.
That's the propaganda angle.
When I watch somebody on YouTube, I can tell whether they're telling a lie or not. I get a sense to it. I do, man.
Right on.
And you can have it too. Everybody has it. We just don't acknowledge it. We don't really tune into it. It's all about on what you focus on in your body and your consciousness, and that's where we got to go. We need to go into this multi-dimensional, consciousness, and we're going to have to be on our toes when we're out there, because some of those things out there are going to try to eat us.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think so. We are probably nice and squishy and warm and delicious to just the right thing. You're the best.
Well, and when you get back to the cannibalism thing, there is a market out there, and guess what we're called? Long pigs. So we taste like pig.
Oh, no. Phil in Washington here has a YouTube channel, guys. Please check it out. Scroll down to the bottom of our YouTube channel. You'll see him linked there as Friends of Troubled Minds. Phil, you were the best. I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for listening. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for giving us your take. You're the best, brother.
Take care, and make sure to be tasty now.
You got it. I'll salt myself up. Have a great one. Phil in Washington, thanks for the call. There you go. Still taking your phone calls on this, guys. What do you think? Is this, again, am I a little out there? Am I wrong to be perturbed by the actual situation going on here with not just the thing with Elon Musk and the Russian propaganda and the cannibalism and all the rest of this stuff? What's actually happening here? Oh, did I hang up on the wrong guy? No, I think I did. Okay. All right. Anyway, sorry about that. I think I hung up on Joseph. Give me a call back, Joseph, and we'll put you on the show. Okay. But okay. So I don't know. The thing is this, with all this said, it kind of puts me in that a little bit of a foul mood, just because I like to be positive. I like to be positive in the sense that let's give these guys a chance. Let's give these people a chance, and not trying to turn this into a propaganda fest about who's going to eat who, right? And so I don't know. Like Monsters on Mars to me is a lot more compelling than cannibalism on the first colony on Mars. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, love to hear your thoughts one more time. 702-957-1037. Let's go to Joseph in Iowa. Welcome to the show, my friend. Go right ahead.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Good, man. What are your thoughts here?
Hold on one second.
Sure, no problem.
I just had to mute that.
No problem. Go right ahead, sir.
I was thinking quite literally monsters being made of like man on like Mars. Because you think I was looking at I was talking about like a spring yesterday, and like maybe like consciousness flows all around us and stuff. Like if you look at it, like I don't. That's a bad way to look at it. Like genies, and like they go to like places that are like caves and stuff. Maybe if you look at it like that, maybe they occupy Mars completely, and then like if we went there, we would become them. Like our consciousness would change. Not only our physique and our physical form would change differently from the Earth people, but our consciousness would change, and then we would lose contact with those people because maybe we couldn't trust them. Maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I think that's part of the danger too. But I think it's a real danger in that we're people, and we're talking about like improving as people. But then if you take people to another planet, they become less people and they become more Martian in this case, right? And I think that would be inevitable. But in the end, like we don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, right? Health wise, maybe there's some breakthroughs that allow that particular Martian change, whatever happens, to be better, right? I mean, that's the thing. We don't know what we don't know yet, and that's fine. And so we don't know what we don't know, but then Russian propaganda says the first colony on Mars is going to be eating each other. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm irritated. But you're right. There are some legitimate concerns for sure.
I think those concerns like that I was talking about would be long evolving concerns. And in the beginning, you wouldn't be able to tell. But I think the main thing that I would be trying to go for is making a colony in space itself. Become like asteroid miners, just go out there, not relying on any system.
Yeah, space pirates, right? That's what we turn into. Space pirates. Yeah. Again, this makes for some fascinating science fiction, but I'm with you. Like, who knows? Who knows what the future brings? And if we don't evolve past those type of, get rich sort of situations, then I think we're going to continue to have problems. But I love where your mind's at here. Kind of looking to the future of getting to Mars in a positive fashion. How's it going to change? What's going to become of that? I love it, and that's where the mindset needs to be, in my opinion. Because condemning a mission and saying it's doomed to fail and they're going to be eating each other is just not the best. It's not the best. It's a bad look, and it's bad to put it into the zeitgeist. I think words mean something, and media means something. And if you're cursing people that haven't even volunteered yet, my opinion, go to hell. Go to hell. Yeah. Anyway, we're about out of time. So final thought from you. Also, by the way, you want to hang on till after the break? We got a couple minutes in between and we'll bring you back. It's up to you.
I can call back if I come up with another idea.
Sure. Let's do that.
With something else.
Okay. So you got about 30 seconds. Give us your final thought here.
Well, I really don't know. I said really what I wanted to say, but...
Okay, perfect. I appreciate the phone call. Joseph here has a YouTube channel called Hydro Host. Check it out. He does some original music and some other things. Links in the description. Thanks for the call, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
Yep.
There you go. Easy as that. 702-957-1037. But we're done. So if you're listening to us on The Fringe FM, stay tuned for Joe Roop Lighting the Void. If you're listening to us on any other platform, including the podcast feed, stay tuned for a third hour of Troubled Minds. As we finish, be sure, be strong, be true. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. All right. Good night to our good friend, Fred. Have a great one. Sleep well. We'll see you tomorrow. And what's up? Rock Lobster says this: when opinion shows are disguised as news, it lets them tell you what to think by not giving the other side to consider. Indeed. And that's what we're talking about with propaganda and with this space stuff. And I don't know, this space stuff is near and dear to my heart. I'm sorry to disappoint some of you out there that believe space is fake. I believe space is real because I can go out and I can look up and I can see with my own eyes. So, we're going to agree to disagree on that. But again, it's not about those things. It's about all the other things. Even if it's not, even if you believe all this other stuff, that's fine by me. But what about the propaganda? What about these undermining missions before they begin, right? And you could extrapolate that to be any other sort of thing, any other sort of conversation, right? Just sort of taking something that we, maybe is the next step for humankind, right? Just whatever that happens to be, the giant step. Well, maybe it's not good to undermine it before we even begin. I think that's what I'm talking about tonight. So if you want to be part of the show, we're going to take a 2-minute break here and continue trucking. Keep on trucking, as it were, because that's what we do. And this is Troubled Minds on Michael Strange, and we're going to still taking your phone calls. What are your thoughts here? Again, we can go to, like Phil brought up, hey, what if there are monsters on Mars? Like Randy Kramer said so, and whatever you think of his credibility, et cetera, so on. Randy Kramer, not Phil. Phil's a good dude. Check out his YouTube channel. But the thing is that I don't know, right? I don't have those answers. If I did, it would be easy. I'd just be another lion dog propagandist that wanted to tell you the answers without actually knowing what the answers are. See? That's a very important distinction to make. So, and I'm willing to be wrong, and that's okay. And as a result of that, well, I do it with an open line. So we're still taking your phone calls if you want to be part of the show tonight. What do you think? Is this a little bit out there for you? We can get back to the dark part of the human psyche and the human condition, or we can continue marching on talking about Mars and what that colonization process may look like. Maybe aliens there, maybe life on Mars, or, well, what about cannibalism on Mars? Yeah, it gets dark, doesn't it? It gets dark super fast. So one more time, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. And we're going to take a quick 2-minute break, and then we'll be back with more Troubled Minds on the way. Still taking your calls, still taking your thoughts, still love to hear what's on your mind tonight. And let's do it. Let's smash this button and skip us to the good part. And 2-minute break, and here's my bandaged hand from my dog bite. Yep. Got bit. All right. So what are your thoughts? 702-957-1037. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. 2-minute break. 2-minute break. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we're still doing this. We're still talking about this, as long as you guys are interested. If it's one of those ones that's like, strike three, Mike, try again, that's okay. We'll cut it a little bit short, and then we'll just keep on trucking tomorrow. Swing again for the fences. It's no problem. Doesn't bother me a single bit. But what do you think? What do you think here? Do you think this propaganda effort to undermine a mission before it begins is, I guess you could say sinister? This is evil, isn't it? It's one of those situations where why would you jinx something before it has a chance to really get off the ground? Sure, fine. Science is science, and, tabulating data and spreadsheets and all the rest of that, like I always say, it's fine. I like it, right? I'm not good at it. I'm good at, like, kind of giving the sideways eyeball, the side eye to the, wait a minute, that's your conclusion from all that data? Huh, okay, that's what I'm good at. Yeah, there you go. What's up? Yeah, sorry. What's up, Vicky? Sorry to hear my baby bit me. Yeah, I mean, she's good. She's a puppy. She's got razor sharp teeth, and I know she didn't mean to do it, but it is what it is. Ronald says, I hope Mike didn't give the dog rabies. There you go. Exactly. There you go. Now that dog finally tasted strange blood, she may want more. Sleep with one eye open, Michael. You got it. But okay, so a lot of craziness here in this news cycle, right? With not just, again, we have the crew may revolt. Let's go to this real quick. And, again, Russian propaganda. Sure, fine, got it. This is going to be interplanetary war before we even get there. Sure, fine. Then we're going to go to this one. The scientists discuss planetary colonies, say lack of preparedness could lead to cannibalism. I agree with Phil. Elon Musk is a smart dude. He's not going to send up no food first and then people without food. That doesn't make any damn sense. I don't know. What do you guys think? Super Champion Rocker says, if there are monsters on Mars, there's no reason to mess with them unless they mess with us. If we mess with them, we deserve what we get. Yes, sir, indeed. Let's see. Lily says, who will the gods be of space? Mars, the head of the dragon, a planet associated with war. Interesting. The god of war. Yes, indeed. What's going on? Let's see. Bernaise sauce. What's up? Rock Lobster's here. How you doing, Rock Lobster? Thanks for showing up. Let's see. Night Stalker says this. Space Pirates was an ad astra. It's coming. Oh boy, I hope not. And then adds, maybe while we're colonizing outer space, something else is colonizing our inner space. And I'll tell you what it is. It's the mind virus. It's the propaganda. It's the seeds of doubt. Yes, definitely coming after us. I think that's for sure. Ronald, Mike, consult your physician if you have sudden urges to scoot your butt across the carpet. There it is. always jokes on that side over there on Rockfin. If you guys aren't on Rockfin, you're totally missing out. Okay, so the thing is, I don't know the answers here. There's a whole lot more we could get into here, but this is specifically, this is the one, right? This is straight from the Sputnik International. This is that Russian propaganda source where this actually came from. And look at the headline here. It's the same thing, except it's a little more dark. It says, they are going to eat each other. Scientists reveal what horrors could befall planetary colonies. Oh boy. Come on, get out of here. I mean, sure, it's within the realm of possibility, but isn't it more fascinating to consider that there may be life on Mars than to talk about this? Let's see what they said. Future human attempts to establish outposts on other planets should be well thought out in terms of how the populations of these distant worlds are going to sustain themselves, lest things go horribly wrong, Metro suggests. Two scientists, a professor of astrobiology at Edinburgh University named Charles Cockle and Dr. Cameron Smith, anthropologist from Portland State University, told the media outlet that before trying to colonize more remote worlds, humans should first go for tester colonies on the moon or on Mars, which could be resupplied from Earth with relative ease if needed. Factors that may pose a dire threat to such planetary outposts that would be unable to receive help from Earth on a short notice include food shortages, disease, and failure to become self-sufficient. Well, what about the aliens on Mars? What about that? Come on, Sputnik, you're driving me crazy. Let's talk about interesting things. The quote, the systems have to be really reliable, and that's why they need to be tested before, Kalko remarked. He pointed to the fate of the disastrous 19th century Franklin expedition, whose ships were the most sophisticated pieces of technology available at the time, and who had tinned food, which also was a new technology back then. And yet that expedition ended up getting lost, stranded, and eventually degenerating into cannibalism. His concern was shared by Smith, who said that one of the first things a planetary outpost would have to do is establish a really good farming system and put in a lot of stored food. Okay, right? Yeah, got it. I don't know. I think there's a little bit of darkness to this, and I just don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary to go there and turn it into this. Notice that the scientists are from Edinburgh University and an anthropologist from Portland State University. So I believe that's one in the UK, one in the United States, and but Russia getting the statements and turning it into this. Yeah, you see how propaganda works? Oh, it's so good. It's so good, but it's also not. It's also not. I don't know. What are your thoughts? 702-957-1037. Is Soylent Green people on Mars, or is this something else entirely? I have no idea. Yeah, the MRE, right? Yeah, it could be. What's up, Super Champion Rocker says, to all those who want to go to Mars, yep, get out of here. Get out of here. Agreed. Yeah, I don't know. So there's more here. We could talk about off-world, the rest of this stuff. Off-world colony simulation reveals changes in human communication over time with Earth. We talked about that a little bit. Like, there's a whole bunch here of like all this stuff. How do you build these things? How do you do this stuff? And all the rest. But I don't know. Including, well, we could expand the conversation to all these other places. Forget Mars. Here's where we should build our first off-world colonies. We could look at that. I don't know. What are you guys into? What do you want to talk about? As always, third hour is just kind of like free for all. We could take it to wherever we want to take it because that's just what we do. So, love to hear your thoughts. Let's check the Discord, make sure nobody's there, and let's see. What do we got? We got this friend of mine. Let's see. Okay. We got Kelly. What's up? I didn't realize Kelly was here. We got Kelly in Colorado. What's up, my friend? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you tonight?
Good evening. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Just hanging out, talking about weird shit like always, you know. And tonight it's cannibalism on Mars, because why not, right?
I don't know, man. This is what I think is going to happen, and colonization, right? Then, if we're talking colonization, then we're talking civilian colonizing planet.
Cut down, Kelly.
What about now? Am I better?
Better, much better.
Okay, yeah. So if you're doing a first colonization first, right? You probably would want to send, I would say, and this is not against any kind of civilian that hasn't or could, maintain a I would say, a lifestyle of like what they're used to, what most people are used to. It would be military personnel, and specifically, it would probably be you would look at like Navy personnel, because we've done deployments on Navy ships for like 6 to 10 months, or even people like submariners that they go not only 6 months, but they go 6 months underwater. So the isolation to them is going to be less effective or troublesome, because they're kind of used to that. They put that body to the test to that, the mind also. But if you're doing, if you do colonization for civilian life, right? It's kind of be like, like Alien, or the movie Alien, or Prometheus. Those guys, they were like miners. They were mining the space, whatever they were doing in space, right? So, you kind of got to look at some things like that, like mutiny. It's kind of like what sailors would have to do. If they're lost out at sea, right? There's going to be mutiny and try to take over, the ship and stuff, or people will go insane or depression or whatnot. But again, military wise speaking, is that they would be more used to that before you would try any kind of civilian, because you could already run tests on those military personnel that you have on these different planets. I kind of like what Nice was talking about too, because it is the truth. Because the human body, we're more harmonized and more balanced with this planet than say another planet. We wouldn't know how the body would react to that if that was the case. That would be the only issue I would see. Besides the fact that yes, we would, the human body would change. Obviously we would. I don't know if it'd be for the better or for the worse. How, or even if the human body can adapt, in said environment, unless that environment had changed somehow. But yeah, man, I don't know. Besides that, I kind of like sent those video or those pictures of what people like. I think it's like Earth. I think, was it like Earth Live or whatever, or Mars? It's kind of like there's actually, I think, even coordinates on one of the pictures where, it looks like a herds of animals. You know what I mean? That was satellite pictures of these things that look like they're roaming the planet. Besides that, are in like some trees, actually, small forests. I wouldn't say they were huge, but big enough to where they could be fed on or something.
Yeah, I think regarding Mars too, there's a whole lot of that stuff out there that we, like I said, we don't even know about yet. So not just about Mars itself, but then about our physiology, like you described, and how it's going to affect us and all the rest of that. But who knows? Maybe there's like some abundant food source on Mars, maybe underground, maybe some sort of organic plant life or something or other happening. I mean, again, that methane on Mars thing they're talking about. There's some reasons to believe that there's something up there that I'm not thinking monsters that'll eat us, but maybe something that will be able to help us survive up there.
Yeah, if it's like, 'cause, they already know it was a watery planet, kind of like Earth, in the distant past. But if it's like that, if it was like that, like Earth somewhat, then you would have to think that it would be underground water just like Earth. The science are trying to say that, we even have more water underground than we do have on the surface of the planet. So who even knows, And it's probably even cleaner, depends, if it wasn't poison or whatever, kind of like what we're doing to this planet. But if it was, that distance, you'd probably think that they had filtered out, all whatever was on the planet before. But yeah, man, I don't know. Where you can even talk about microbial, microscopic type shit that's on the, inside the dirt that we couldn't even, really detect until we're out there. What was interesting, I talked about this one time, was they showed the tracks of one of those things that we have up there on Mars, checking it out. But the tracks, it looks like it was being eaten. It was kind of like the bacteria was eating the metal off one of the tracks on one of them. I don't know how true it was, but that's one thing I ran across,
Yeah, I did see that picture, and I was like, what the hell is that? Is that really happening? That seemed pretty wild. Yeah, who knows, man, with all the people photoshopping shit to try and fool us for who knows what reason. But yeah, I don't know. And again, we don't even know if the information we get from them is solid. And that's a perfect example from NASA, right? They never a straight answer. So yeah, you got me. What do you think about the propaganda aspect here with kind of Russia trying to what appears to be a Russian effort to undermine a colony off-world?
I don't know, man. I kind of look at that because where it came from. I believe that that group is it's a world group, and the reason why it was in Russia is because Russia was actually born in they went to space the humankind before us, right? So. And then I know it's called Sputnik News, but that group I can't. What was the group's name again?
I can't remember. Let's see. I'll find it. The Project, maybe in Project Sirius. I'm not sure. One of these two.
Yeah, I believe it was Sirius. But anyway, yeah, if it is Sirius, they're a group that does some pretty good stuff, but. I don't know about the whole cannibalism thing, you know what I mean? Because, again, if you're going to use military personnel, you're going to try to wipe that stuff out. You're going to have someone that's mentally stronger than, that can be able to, actually, I wouldn't say to handle it, but it has been more or less trained to deal with such things, right? Like I said, like us Navy personnel, being out on those deployments like that, that's, and that's middle of the ocean too. So, you're not grounded on anything like I was talking about. You're wearing full military gear, and you're running around on a metal ship in the middle of the ocean. You're not grounded either. You know what I mean? And again, I talked about this, I don't know, on another show, I believe, just briefly though. It was about NASA. They had they ran tests on human beings where, one of the things was that example You know, not only the physical aspects, but like the mental to go with it, and you know, add that with the spiritual. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, we're humans of this planet, right? So, you know, being, you know, harmonized with this planet, the physical attributes that's gonna, you know, might not even, that's gonna be, who knows? It's a negative. We don't know the long distance terms of that. You know what I mean? But that's only if we know deep space travel, like we would think that we, you know, would do. But you have to have a vehicle that, you know, like that would, you know, has the ability to go beyond that. But if, you know, like if, you know, if it's in our own solar system, that type, you know, by rockets or whatever to propel us, you know, to go around, you know, other planets and kind of slingshot us out that way. That's the only thing that's, you know, it's kind of where you would worry about your, you know, your astronauts, because they had a feeling that through that test was, you know, they're like the distance, you know what I mean? They felt like disconnected, because you really are, you know, you're not even on planet. You're just kind of, you know, floating through space. I would believe you would actually, that would be pretty strange, I would say, the first time doing that.
Yeah, and again, you know, back to what Phil said when he called it. You know, Elon Musk is a smart guy. He's not going to put themselves in a position where, you know, something happens, everybody's going to starve. You know what I mean? Like, that just seems silly to even put it in a situation like that. And like you said, they're going to train the hell out of these people anyway, and you know, it's not going to be your average Mike. You know what I mean? It's not going to be. It's going to be some pretty special people that go. So I'm with you, man. There's I don't know. Do you think we'll make it in the time frame they tell us, like in the next 5 to 10 years?
I mean, I believe it. I mean, look at his leaps and bounds that he's done. You know, I mean, he made NASA look like a joke, you know, by reusing the rockets. You know, NASA used to just let them drop or float around, burn him. You know, and it's like just a waste of money. You know, that's what I always thought. Why are we not reusing these things? You know. But, you know, here he is. He's landing the shit on a platform in the middle of the ocean, you know, even making more look stupid. But I would think we'd make it there. And I hope we do, you know. And the people that we do first train, yes, they're not coming back. It's a one-way ticket. And there'll be many tests ran on those people on a daily basis, you know. And that's for our, you know, our knowledge of what we, you know, as humankind, you know. I mean, that's one step forward than just the moon. And I don't even, you know, we can always compare to see yes or no if we went there or not. But as in Mars, that's a whole different thing, you know. That was a planet, and it held life at one time, and I believe it's still.
Yeah, you think there's still life up there on Mars, right?
Oh yeah, man. Of course. And I'm not thinking in like most what science is, you know, like the whole propaganda with that, you know, just microbial, like access to life. I believe there's more than that, you know, because like I said, those pictures in there, they look like herds of animals that's running around on the surface of Mars, you know, and this is satellite videos. You know, it's kind of like I said, it's, you know, Google Earth. It's like one of those Google Mars. You can, people are scanning that all the time, you know, not only just the face or whatever, but yeah, they're actually, you know, photos of, I don't know how old they are, you know, there's, you know, it changes, I'm pretty sure, just like it does here on planet Earth, the Google Earth or the Google Mars. But at that time, yeah, when they were looking at it, that's exactly what that looks like to me. It just looks like a herd of animals, you know, going, and that's what's crazy. I don't know, man. So who knows who's really lying? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's the question, right? That's why we do this, because who the hell's really lying? Oh, geez. Yeah, unfortunate that we find ourselves in that world, but here we are doing our best anyway. So I'm with you. I hope they make it. I hope that this is a huge success, and I hope that we get people on Mars and colonies happen. And can you imagine 500 years from now if this is all the case? Like, it's going to be an amazing time, isn't it? Like this is going to be, well, this is what humans have aspired toward since humanity was around, right? Like trying to touch the moon and the night sky sort of thing, and we're there doing it, or at least on the precipice of being able to live on the moon. That seems wild.
Yeah, That's what I want to do. I want to paddle the Milky Way. You know, I want to be there. I mean, through my near-death experience, that's the closest I ever came. You know, and what I seen was, you know, and I believe that's what I seen too. But the thing about it is, I want to go back. That's the whole. It was something that I don't know. You know, they've asked some. There was a thing about. I don't know how true it is either, but you know how they do their little test or whatever. But this one was how many people would love to go to outer space or go to Mars. I would love to, well, even if I know it was a one-way ticket. Me and Michelle talked about that before. We would we would give that a go. You know what I mean? Even though, because death comes to everybody, and it just depends on where it's gonna be at. You know what I mean? You could be sitting on the toilet. Kind of like Elvis, you know what I mean? So, who knows, man? I mean, if it ever came into a chance, I would go.
Amen. Amen. I'm not sure I would, man. I like my cold beer too much. but I'm with you. I guess maybe if you twisted my arm, I'll bet you if Mrs. Strange was in, I'd change my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. You're the best, my friend. We got Jennifer on the line behind you. What else you got on your mind tonight?
Oh, man, that's it. I just wanted to throw that a couple things about that, you know.
Appreciate it. Great stuff as always. You're the best. Kelly in Colorado. Been with the Troubled Minds family for a very long time. Happy holidays to you and Michelle. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for spending your time with us. You're the best, bro. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good night.
You too, man. You too. You're welcome to stay there if you want to, as you know. Okay, so let's go to... we're still talking about this, guys. What do you think? I got a couple articles here which are kind of funny. This is from the Keystone, Nevada corner. This $5 billion moon-themed resort is coming to Las Vegas, so there you go. And just in case you wanted to get to the moon and didn't want to actually go, well, they're building an active lunar colony with a spaceship nightclub. So maybe, just maybe, you can hit the moon without actually hitting the moon. 702-957-1037. What's up, Tam Bam? I see you there on Rockfin. Let's go to Jennifer in Missouri. Welcome to the show, my friend. How are you tonight?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing well. Go right ahead. I'm sure you have some thoughts on this, whether it's the propaganda angle or Mars itself or Elon, or what's on your mind?
Yeah, I do. Well, we all know that people are capable of horrific things, but the idea that it has to be an explainable norm, it seems kind of ridiculous, and it's disconcerting in a way. We all know that mankind is capable of doing horrible things, but mankind has proven to be very discerning and also capable of looking out for the best interest of many people besides themselves, and they can conduct themselves with honor. Do those that forgo any aspect of honor or any aspect of caring for their fellow man walk amongst us? I mean, yeah, of course. We've all seen that. We've all experienced that. But the idea that it is a normalized condition or that it's an expected trait, it's the same lie we are living through right now. We're burning cities and destroying property, stealing and assaulting each other, killing each other for, something that you want, that it's okay. And simply because you're mad about something, it's okay to destroy everything around you just because you didn't get your way about something that you wanted or something to turn out the way you wanted. They tell us this in our own world. So, when we're talking about them going to Mars and they're trying to say that this is probably going to happen there too, that it's somehow acceptable. It seems like they want to normalize it, that it's a predestined plan for mankind, and it's because it's our nature, because they want us to ignore, the greater aspects of humanity, like honor and integrity and care and selflessness, that so many people, so many humans are capable and will choose to show to their fellow man. you know. There are those that choose selfishness and self-preservation, you know, in the smallest sign of discomfort that they face. We see that with our politicians in our entertainment industry, and we see it in our neighbors who are hanging on to every word, you know, basically of all these talking heads and everything that they hear on their televisions, that they tell them to hold true to these ideas of what humanity is and what they should be. But it's not everyone, and it's not a natural state, as much as they'd like us to believe it, that's about all I have to say about this. But we can't let them, you know, quotes them, tell us who we are, what we will be, or what we are destined to do. Because in the end, the truth is that they want us to fail. You know, it seems that way. And that's that. And I think that if people do go anywhere, whether it's into the battlefield or whether it's into space or to the bottom of anywhere, or even in their day-to-day lives, there's this higher good in mankind that they are, and they're going to choose. There's always going to be this battle of good and evil inside of us all. But good, people choose it because innately, I think, that they do choose greatness, you know, every time. And I think if they go to Mars, they're going to show the same thing, the same traits we've seen in everywhere and everything that humanity on its whole path, what it's shown. And just because there are those who want to break that down and make us think that we will resort because we're destined to do so, or it's a normal, natural reaction to be angry, and so you'll act this way. That's disturbing, you know.
Yeah, it's
in fact, they've even pegged it down, you know.
Yeah. Undermining the mission before it even begins, and then planting that seed of doubt in us, like the people that might support it, the people that might, like you described there, choose greatness instead. Like it is like one day, you know, there's going to be a statue of Elon Musk somewhere, very Star Trek-ish, of the guy that took us off the planet, you know, and that's an amazing thing. It's inspiring as hell. And why are we going to shoot that down? I'm with you. This is and that's why I talk about this stuff, as you know, because it makes me mad. It's not like why are we spending so much time with the propaganda cycles in that. It's all brainwash, but it's so negative. It's just so damn negative. It's pretty gross. It makes me feel icky, and well, that's the way we do the show.
Yeah, and people, when they're facing things that scare them, when they're facing things that are impossible or that seem that way, it's the same thing. You know, that's what they learn from. That's where they learn what they're made of. And that's where humanity as a whole, when they see it be accomplished, something impossible to accomplish, when it's accomplished, it changes the whole mindset of the entirety of the species. You know, when they see that over and over again, the overcoming all the time. You know, and then of course, if we just focus on that lower aspect of things, that people will resort to this sometimes. That's not everybody. I mean, there are those who do that, but that's the lowest bar. You know, we got to continue to just raise that bar to where it's always hard.
Exactly. JFK said, "We go to the moon not because it is easy. We do this because it is hard." And he was absolutely right.
Yes.
Yes. 100%. You're the best, Jennifer. Anything else you got for us tonight?
I think there are monsters on Mars.
Okay. All right. Let's hear that.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know what they would be, but I mean, I think it's possible that you would be facing things that aren't even visible monsters, or that, you know, like, I mean, if you think about it, it's just very reasonable because we have them, you know, why not? I mean, if you think about what a monster would be, it wouldn't necessarily even have to, I mean, maybe it doesn't have to breathe. Maybe it doesn't have to do any, you know, who knows? It doesn't necessarily even have to be under the surface. It could be invisible. You know, we got like Predator and stuff. You never know.
You never know. Floating in the atmosphere. Who
knows?
knows?
Event Horizon.
Yeah. I was thinking that.
You know, Event Horizon.
I was just trying to think of that movie.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Like a space spirit, right? Space poltergeist or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good movie, scary.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Anyway.
You're the best, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the phone call. Amazing as always. Jennifer has a YouTube channel, guys. Please give her a follow. Scroll down and link is in the description. Thanks, Jennifer. You're the best. We'll talk to you soon. Have a fantastic night.
Great show, Mike.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Thank you. Appreciate it. There you go. As simple as that. 702-957-1037. Thanks for all the amazing calls tonight, guys. Thanks for all the great thoughts. Thanks for remaining positive. Again, that's what this is all about. Like you could boil down Troubled Minds, the whole show down to a few things. And, one of the main ones is just being positive in the face of pressure, in the face of people calling you this, that, or detractors or whatever, right? In the face of those, right? Like Jennifer was saying, like we don't really show who we are until we respond to pressure, to adversity, to things that seem impossible. And back to that JFK quote, we don't go to the moon because it's easy. We do these things because they are hard. And it's true. It's 100% true. A wise man once told me, and he used to be a co-host on the show, he said that if it's easy, it's not worth doing. That's what he said to me. If it's easy, it's not worth doing. And then he quit the show. So, damn it, Frank. Where's Frank when you need him? But I mean, I think the thing is that we find ourselves in these. The thing that pisses me off the most about all of it is these propaganda cycles that are just dogging on everything. There's real news. There's real dire, horrific stuff happening in the world for sure, 100%. But I mean, like creating negative stories about things that haven't happened yet. It's like casting spells, right? It's like putting it out there into the ether, into our brains, into the consciousness, the collective consciousness. And if we do that, I think we're not being great to ourselves, and that's part of the problem with this. That's why it irritates me quite a lot when we get just this negative, constant fear-mongering propaganda. And again, I'm not saying that some of the things that are being reported are not real. Don't get me wrong there. I'm saying that when you go after them the way they do, and it's just fear, 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 leaving out crucial details that would defang the fear process, it's insidious. It's pretty nasty, and that's why that's really what built Troubled Minds, is because they just couldn't stop lying. And I kept reading the news every day, just like forehead smacking, like, come on, really again? Like, these people can't be really. Are these people really reporting on the size of Donald Trump's penis? Like, really? Come on. Like literally bottom of the barrel. Not even a third grader would go there. You know what I mean? It's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. And here we are. Anyway, what's going on? Let's go to the chat and hang out. How's everybody doing tonight? It is Happy Tuesday. Talking about all the rest of this stuff. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot here to think about. There's a lot to talk about per usual because, well, it is a talk show after all. Looking to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think? So we're talking about maybe this Russian propaganda aspect of this. Again, Sputnik International. To recircle, to reframe all this, let's reframe this for Tam Bam because she just showed up. Good morning, Tam Bam. And then for people that kind of come and go during the show, we'll reframe it real quick. We started with this tonight. Science alert. Scientists have identified the driving force behind your darkest impulses. And oddly enough, they call it D, which is hilarious. Meet D, the newly identified dark factor of personality. And so enter all the dick jokes here because, well, yeah, there it is. So in other words, general intelligence factor, blah, blah, blah. They're talking about this sort of thing that lives inside all of us, this dark thing. And I kind of equated it to the angel and the devil on your shoulder and that sort of thing. And, just sort of a way to start the conversation. But then this is fun and all because looking inside is just as valuable as looking outside, and it's the duality of creation, is it not? But which we've talked about quite a lot recently. But then there's this, right? So there's this. But it's less fun when you talk about it on the Earth. So I was like, all right, let's take this to space. So we went with Jeff Bezos and the billionaire space race to build a permanent off-world colony. And then we went here to this Russian propaganda aspect of scientists discuss planetary colonies, say lack of preparedness could lead to cannibalism. And not only that, Mars colony simulations, crew may revolt without strong interplanetary communication, meaning that they would have some sort of actual interplanetary conflict already before we even have colonies on Mars. That's absurd. It's pretty wild, but it's good to reframe once in a while, and it's okay. It's okay. Let's see. Can you tell me the basic? There it is. There you go. You got the overview. There you go. Caught you up. And so we're talking about Russian propaganda. We're talking about the aspect of being on Mars. We're talking about, again, overcoming impossible things. And yes, back to the D, right? Of course, back to the D. What's up, Penny? How you doing? Only 21 thumbs ups. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's. If you haven't hit the thumbs up on all the platforms, please do. It does help skirt the algorithms or whatever. Appreciate that very much. And there you go. There it is. There it is. Night Stalker, the Demons of Mars. Exactly right. What's up? Party in space, baby. Oh yeah. So a couple more fun things while we're at it. This was kind of cool. I thought I'd point this out in case you don't want to go to the actual Martian situation and find yourself going to the moon. Well, this is from Keystone and NevadaCorner.com, and yeah, they're building this a $5 billion moon-themed resort in Las Vegas. So maybe one of these days, since I do live in Vegas, all of you guys can come and we can meet on the moon. On the moon. Why not? I mean, in Vegas, we've got the Statue of Liberty. We've got the Eiffel Tower, right? We've got a medieval castle in the form of a hotel casino called Excalibur. I mean, why not? We've got a pyramid, for crying out loud. It's called the Luxor, right? It's got the mighty Sphinx outside on both sides. It's a pretty amazing little spot down there on the Strip if you've never been there. But back to this. We got a $5 billion moon-themed resort coming to Las Vegas. And so maybe, let's say drink some maybe juice, God willing. Maybe when they build this sucker, this was actually October 30th, 2021 when this is reported. So this is not an old article. This is what's coming. Active lunar colony and spaceship nightclub. Maybe the first Troubled Minds Con happens on the moon. You never know. So we'll see. Let's see. Canadian-based company Moon World Resorts has announced plans for the 5.5 million square foot hotel, whose signature feature will be a replica of the moon, standing at 735 feet tall and 650 feet wide. The replica will be only be 1/75,000th the size of the moon, but that's large enough to accommodate 4,000 guest rooms and suites. Plans for Moon Resorts Las Vegas also include a 75,000 square foot spa, 50,000 square foot food and beverage offerings, 75,000 square feet of retail, and 150,000 square feet of clubs and lounges. There you go. Matt's got it right. Meet me on the moon. There it is. So pretty good stuff. I thought this was interesting as I was kind of digging through some of the off-planet colonization situations, and this popped up as being something happening on the moon in Vegas, because why not? We have everything else, so why the hell not? But yeah, so that's what's the context of the conversation tonight. All of that in a nutshell, and there you go. If you want to challenge me to do the whole Troubled Minds in 10 minutes, well, you got it. You got it. Yeah. There you go. What's up? Yeah, I'm totally in, thinking about a vacation. There we go. Super Champion Rocker says you can even visit New York City and Vegas without having to listen to annoying accents. No, there's tons of annoying accents down there for sure. A lot of international folks come, and there's tons and tons of different language speakers, and yeah, for sure. I know what you mean, though. You're taking a jab at New York. We got lots of good friends in New York, though, so I'm not going to do that. Yeah, so pretty crazy stuff regarding this and all the rest of it. But I don't know. I think that as always, the underlying theme of this show, not just this particular show tonight, this conversation is Troubled Minds. Is it's okay to be positive. Like in a negative world where everything seems to be sort of just a weight on our shoulders with fear propaganda and fear porn and all the rest of this stuff. It's okay. Like be fearless and be unafraid to be positive, and that's what this is all about, and that's what we're discussing tonight, just in a different way. Ronald's got it right. $50 extra for anal probes on the moon. You guys are cracking me up. Rohan says, the mighty Rohan Liam Martin, I bet you can pay for abduction fantasy in Vegas soon then. Oh boy. Okay, there you go. All right, so I don't know. We're kind of near the end of this. Anybody else want to jump in here? We got a few minutes left for you if you want to be part of the conversation. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Otherwise, we're going to wind this down. Probably not much else to say other than be unafraid to be positive. It's okay. It's even though we're facing down a negative world and a negative division media, reject it. Reject the fact that we have to choose between two crappy political parties in this country that both are ruining everything, and then get to blame the other guy, right? In this case, the duality of creation, it falls on them, and they failed in every aspect. And reject it outright. Demand more, be more, and be unafraid. That's it. There we go. Geez, you guys are cracking me up in the chat over there. Okay, so we can wind this down. Let's see. Penny says, "I'll call tomorrow as I don't believe Mars is real." That's perfect. That's cool. And by the way, we'll disagree on that. And when we're finished with that conversation, we'll still get along. It's totally fine to disagree. It's all good. Okay, so yeah, we'll wind this up. We'll end it a little bit early since it seems that I'm not as into this as I usually am because it is what it is, and it is propaganda and blah blah blah. But so we'll wrap this up. And if you want, there you go. Shout out New York City was a good natured joke. Yeah. You're making fun. We're having jokes here. This is not a place where we get together and try and crap on each other. That's not what it's about. But yeah, shout out New York City. We got a lot of good friends there, and it's okay. It's all good, and they would laugh too. So let's finish this up. Let's get the hell out of here. Like I said, got a few minutes left. If you guys want to be part of the show, part of the discussion, 702-957-1037, troubleminds.org. Click the Discord link. Otherwise, as you know, I want to point this out too as we kind of get down to the end of this, is that this show is our show. This is not just my show. This is not just Mike is Troubled Minds. No, Troubled Minds is us, and I mean that. Like a lot of people say it, and a lot of people try and make that happen, but I mean it. Like the invitation is to you. If you're listening to this in any capacity and you want to be part of this show, let me know. I did get an email last night from an individual that wants to be on the show, maybe like a panel discussion one time. Sure, fine. We can do stuff like that. Maybe we'll work in like a Friday now and then where we don't have to be on radio. We can just kind of kick it and talk and get a few people on a panel and just shoot the shit about a particular topic or two or three or something. It's no big deal. And that's what I mean. So if you want to be part of the show, if you have an idea for a show, if you, whatever it is, you're invited. troubledmindsradio@gmail. Send me an email. You can join the Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link and come hop on there. That's the social media I'm most active on. If you tag me on Twitter or something, I may not notice it because I don't watch Twitter that often. And just to let you know, you guys are invited. The whole idea of this was I'm not Linda Moulton Howe. You're not Richard Dolan. And you don't have to be to talk about amazing things. You just have to be you. Come as you are. Come as you were. Come as I want you to be. And that's the Nirvana tune I just ripped off. And there we go. And that's true. Just be yourself. You just got to be yourself. That's the way this works. Kelly, anything else while we got you here before we burn this down and finish this up? Burn it all down. About ready.
Just one last thing, with all that and that. Just be unapologetic for love. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. 100%. It's okay. It's okay to not be as masculine as you're supposed to be, or not be as this or that or the other thing as you're supposed to be. There's no supposed to be's. As Kelly said, 100%. You were spot on, my friend. Don't apologize. Do the right thing and don't apologize for it. And goddamn right. Thanks for adding that. Appreciate it, brother.
All right, man. You guys have a good night, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow, man.
You got it, bro. You got it. Great stuff from Kelly, as always. That's Kelly in Colorado. All right, let's get the F out of here. Let's just wind this up, and we're done. So the bad news is we're done. This one's for Jay, and he's had his hands full. He's doing some extra work out there in New York, and he usually pops in for the last bit. But sorry, Jay, if we missed you, but this one's for you. All right. The bad news is we're done. The good news is, God willing, we've got tomorrow. So we'll have more Troubled Minds tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific, and then we'll have another one on Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific as well. So good stuff. Be unapologetic for love, and do the right thing. And don't let anybody stare you down and make you feel weird about doing the right thing. You do the right thing. right? You know what it is. We know what it is. I know what it is, at least to the best of our ability. And we are human, and we're allowed to be wrong. So don't forget that part too. Don't forget, you're not allowed. Well, I'm not going to say it. I don't want to bring the fury of detractors, let's say. I didn't want to say something negative. To negativity begets negativity. So let's not do that. So okay, let's just burn the hell out of here. Let's play this. This is the outro, which we usually do for the J-tro, and it just so happens I've got a quote that I don't think we've read yet, and it's this. This is from Jacqueline Novogratz, and it's exactly like this. Monsters will always exist. There's one inside each of us, but an angel lives there too. There is no more important agenda than figuring out how to slay one and nurture the other. Shout out to Matt in California. There's the duality of the wolves, right? Which wolf will you feed? Indeed, sir. Exactly right. And as we finish this, like I said, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. If you like Troubled Minds, please spread the word. Let everybody know that there's a conversation happening out there, but you don't have to be a political douchebag. You don't have to try and tell people they're wrong. You don't have to do any of that. You can hang out. You can have a good time. You can expand your mind and your consciousness and be better for it tomorrow. And understand and learn that together we're better. Honestly, diversity is a strength, and I mean that. Unlike the propagandists who use it as a weapon, it's a strength. It's good that we think differently, because of course, if we ask the right questions and people think differently, you get different answers, and you see the value of questions. It brings truth closer to home, and I think that's the important part here. So let's get the hell out of here. Again, this is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. I'm me, you're you, but together we're us, and that's a powerful thing. And let's get the hell out, meaning it goes a little something like this. Actually, let's do this, because why not? As we finish, feed every wolf. Don't let any wolves go hungry. All right. It goes like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.